Hello.
Oh, okay. I had so many cool things to say. Um, so yeah, for all the people who got a chance, I was telling them that Immune, God was giving you a chance to get out of this stupid stock, and of course, none of those longs took it. Poor people, man. But it is what it is. You have to learn the hard way. You have to learn lessons you will never forget. But I'm trying to figure out if I should give a um, if Immune does work, it meets its primary endpoint. I'm trying to debate this. If I should name my firstborn son Immune Shkreli. What do you guys think? One of these days I'm going to be wrong. um, what do you guys think? Good? So if you want the one reason to short Immune, I just dropped it in Godel. I can drop it in here too. Short sellers are not good for the economy, man. They ruin everything. I hate it when somebody can sell a stock. That's the worst. You should only be allowed to buy. Selling just messes things up. You should have to write a 10-page essay anytime you sell as to why you're betraying capitalism. Oh wait, we don't live in a crazy land where crazy people make the rules. Thank God. We saw some pictures of the baby yesterday in ultrasound. He looked black to me. So let me get this last points here. All right. Just so you idiots can figure this out. It's halted? Oh boy. Fuck. Oh fuck. Wait, what? No. No, how are they doing this? They can't do an ATM? How? How is that legal? sway? What? You have material non-public information. They raised money at 6:30. Oh. So in addition to their drug not working, INMB guys wanna go to jail too. Well, it's not that bad. Take it from me. But like both scenarios, it's bad news. Okay, so let's say the data is really good. Why in the world would you do a pipe unless you're literally out of money right now? Which even still you can wait a day. You call your vendors and say, listen, man, we're good for it. I will pay you double, don't worry. Right? Right? You just call your vendors and say, listen, man, we're good for it. All right? Because the problem is, if you sell 3 million shares at $6 and the data is good, guess what happens? Let's say I'm long 1 million shares. I say, one, what the hell are you doing selling at 6 when you could sell it at 60? Two, why didn't you put me in the deal? What the hell is going on? It's a securities lawsuit either way. Securities fraud. You're perpetrating fraud on the market. And who buys it without getting the material non-public information? Okay, let's say it's bad. Well, I guess if it's bad, think of it this way. The buyer knows what they're getting into. Okay, the buyer says, I want to buy. Management says, listen, man, we can't, I can't tell you what the data is. And the buyer says, I don't care, I want to buy. Okay, the buyer pays $6.30. Data comes out on Monday, it's not so good, goes to $1. I don't think the longs are mad. And they're the only ones that have a stake in this. Shorts don't have securities rights. So the only real way this makes sense is if the data's bad. Because if the data's good, Levi and Krasinski's like, hold my beer. Let me do this. They're going straight to Levi and Krasinski. They're not doing any of these little banks. These little law firms. They're going straight to Levi. They're not doing Rosen Law Firm. Levi and Krasinski's like, stop everything, let's go. Let's go. Get the lawsuit ready. We wanted to hit the tape today. This is for the history books. This shit's weird. Levi and Korsinski. Let's go. You know what? I'm gonna call Levi, man. What's his number, man? What's his number? I'm snitching. Edward Korsinski. Let me get you, bro. Give me his phone number.
Efficiency's office. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm looking for one of the partners. This is Martin Shkreli, famous investor.
Sure. Who are you looking to speak to?
Either Mr. Levi or Ed, either one. And I have an interesting lawsuit for them to ponder on.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
They'll recognize my name, Martin Shkreli, Shkreli.
Have they helped you with lawsuits in the past?
No, but my name's a pretty big name on Wall Street.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
Huh. Can you short? So if they did the RD at 3, or I'm sorry, at 6:30, can you short at 12 and cover at the same time, basically? We asked ChatGPT.
Hello, Martin.
Yes. Yes. Hello.
Martin.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. This is he. Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, Martin.
Hey. Yes.
Hi, sorry. I think I put you on hold. It didn't let me get back to you. Unfortunately, Ed down your information, like your phone number and your email, and I can pass along to them.
Sure. It's a somewhat urgent thing. It's time sensitive, so I'm happy to talk to another attorney. Or yeah, I'll also give you my number.
Sure. The phone number you're calling from this.
That's a good number. Yep.
Give me 1 second. All right. I'm gonna see if I could try to find someone else for you to speak to.
I know it's a summer Friday.
Yeah.
I think you can give MNPI for a wall cross deal, but once you're in possession of MPI, you cannot trade.
Hi, Martin.
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, so I found another attorney for you to speak to. His name is Adam Acton. Do you mind if I just take down your number and he said he'll give you a call back in 5 to 10 minutes?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. So, no, they have the data. Of course, they have the data. So here's what I think is happening. Let's say this is kind of genius. I have to admit, I should have done this, to be honest. But you got to think quickly and act quickly and have a good banker relationship. So basically, let's say you're big hedge fund one, not big, whatever. Doesn't have to be big. Hedge fund one, hedge fund two. Okay. Hedge fund one is short 1 million shares of Immune. Hedge fund two has no position. Nobody's long Immune, right? So that's normal. So you see the stock go up from what, 6 to 14. You call up, this is a telephone, their banker or their CFO, either one, and you say, look, I'll buy 3 million shares at your last close, $6.30. And they say, whoa, wait a second. We're about to announce Alzheimer's results on Monday, right? And they say, yeah, of course we know that. So you want in on our stock right before then? Yeah, the market's not that liquid. We want to buy 3 million shares at 6:30. And they say, well, look, the stock's trading at 14 right now. What the fuck? We can't sell you at 6:30. And they say, take it or leave it. You don't want the money? That's fine. Do you want the money? They check. They put the guy on hold, and they say, of course we need this fucking money. We're about to announce a failure. We need to survive after this. So let's raise some money. Okay. Let me call the lawyers. Okay. We'll take it. We'll sell you 3 million shares at 6:30, but we're not going to tell you what the data is. And the hedge fund says, it's no big deal. We'll see what the data is on Monday. We have a good feeling about it. So hedge fund one had no position before. They get 1.5 million shares. Hedge fund two now gets 1.5 million shares. They're actually long. But all the while, they're allowed to short the crap out of this. So they sent it right back down to 6. And all the money from 14 to 6 is free money. So if they were able to short, I don't know, let's say they shorted it at 12 on average, some at 14, some at 10, some at 8, they made $18 million in a day. Which, even if you're a $1 billion fund, $18 million split between the two of them, $9 million. Hey, that's 90 basis points. That's a hell of a day. That's probably one of your best days of the year. You never got material non-public information from the company, right? You don't want to know, don't ask, don't know, don't tell. I'm free to trade the stock. The only information we have is the company is willing to take stock at $6.30. Which, if you had great data coming out tomorrow, Why in the world would you do that? You would sell 50 million shares at $60 and raise 300 million. Well, that's even more than that. So it's over. Oh, here we go. Hello?
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 Is this Martin?
Yep.
Hey, Adam Apton here.
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. I don't know if you've ever heard about me and my shenanigans.
I have.
Okay. Just making sure I didn't have to give you a lengthy introduction.
No. I to make sure that I've never tried to hold you accountable for such shenanigans.
That's exactly. I'm believe it or not, I've never committed a crime in my life, but that's another story for another day. So there's a company that I wanted to bring to your attention. I see you guys on the tape on the newswire all day long, and I thought this would be an interesting one for you to look at. It's called INMMB Biosciences. And I haven't seen this in my career, 25 years of watching biotech and pharma. I've never seen this. So it's the stock ticker is INMB, Ivan, Nancy, Mary, Boy, INMMB Bio. So these guys are developing an Alzheimer's drug. And a lot of people are watching and waiting for the results of it. They have data coming out on Monday. They announced that yesterday they would be presenting this data on Monday. It's a sort of game-changing make or break situation. If the data is good, the company is the next Amgen. If the data is bad, the company goes to zero and has big problems. And the company on Thursday presumably is in possession of the data. They've decided that they're going to announce it on Monday. And this is all consistent with their guidance. They've said in the past that the data would be released publicly by the end of the month. So the timing jives perfectly. To my amazing shock, again, I've never seen this, they decided to do a registered direct offering today, which is puzzling, because if you have the MNPI, you could wall cross investors, I suppose, and say, look, yeah, we're going to give you the MNPI, but you have to keep it in confidence, and then when it's public, you can trade it. And I've done that many times in my life. I've wall crossed people. I've been wall crossed, and I think that's fairly normal. To me, it's just such a weird thing to do this RD registered direct right before the data, because on one hand, if you have the data and it's good, you should just wait a day.
Why wait? Right.
If you have the data and it's bad,
are you going to be pissed at you?
Yeah, I mean, I would think. On the same token, like as I was waiting for you to call me back, I was thinking this through. I'm like, well, technically, if let's say you're a hedge fund and you buy this registered direct, and you say, no, don't wall cross me, don't give me the data, and they did this registered direct, mind you, at a 50% discount to the last sale price.
Is it
50? So okay. the stock was $6.30. They said, all right, we'll take the shares at $6.30, but the stock's trading at 14 this morning. And good for the hedge fund, I guess, because the company did it, but it's just one of the strangest things in the world to me. And I just thought, like, if there's somebody I'm going to call, it'd be Levi Korczynski, because I see you guys all the time hunting these down. And this might be too small potatoes for you at this point. I know you guys have grown, but I just don't know what to make of this. And I was curious what you think and if this is something you'd pursue.
I appreciate the call. Always like to get tips from investors. I do. The fact that you are who you are kind of makes it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
in the company, or no?
I'm not looking to be a plaintiff here. I'm I'm not the right guy for that. You can find somebody that owns the stock that's going to be angry. I think on Monday the stock. So my theory is the data's bad. On Monday the stock's going to drop 90%. I do think they've made misrepresentations. I think they've made an enormous number of misrepresentations and omissions. I am short the stock. But I've also been warning longs, who are predominantly retail investors. I've been warning them to stay away from this company. I've been in biotech my whole life. I've run billion-dollar biotech companies. There are so many red flags here. I don't know if we're, I'd make some idiom here, but you get my point. It's covered in red flags. And the company had this phase 1 data that, if you've been in biotech, you know how this works. But if you haven't and you're a new retail investor, you might be getting fleeced. They basically didn't disclose most of the data despite having it. And a careful examination of the data would have revealed that the drug was very unlikely to work, but they cherry picked it. And again, this pipe, or it's not a pipe, it's a registered direct. It's just so bizarre to me that, you can do the registered direct on Monday or next week or 2 weeks from now when, you pick, whether you win or lose, say you lose, pick up the pieces, you do the registered direct. They don't want to sell 10 zillion shares at 5 cents. So I can't blame them for trying to sell it at 6.30. But if the company is in possession of MNPI, and they're basically saying, here you go, hedge fund 1 and 2, we know we're going to fail. So here's a bunch of stock. Do what you will with it, but we really need this cash, and I'd rather sell this at $6 than $1. And again, just bizarre. So I'd leave it with your hands. I mean, to me, it's, again, you'll see on Monday. I mean, I'm almost certain.
I'm going to watch out for this Monday. Let me ask you, being that you've been on the other side of it, why would hedge fund 1 and 2?
Yeah. So this I thought this through as well, because I said, well, why in the world would you buy the stock the day before, unless 1, you're really, really bullish, or 2, you're going to get wall crossed, in which case that's a securities problem too, I think. If you know it's good and you're wall crossing 2 people, I'd be pretty furious if I was long. And then Monday it's at $60 or $100 a share because they cured Alzheimer's, which, is distinctly possible. I grant that. It could be good news. I'm prognosticating. But, so what I think happens is pretty simple, is if you see the stock at 14 and the stock's at 6.30 and you're a hedge fund and you say, listen, I'll buy stock at $6 right now. You guys are out of cash. You need the cash. I don't want to know the results. I just want stock at $6. And they say, yes, you just short the stock at 14 with impunity. And as long as I calculate you can make a quick $10 million bucks. And you're basically set your cover price on your short. So if you can short it at 12 or 14, and then the company directly gives you the shares at 6, you're happy to buy them at 6 because it's basically arbitrage. It's an instant profit.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. So they don't much care, right?
I don't think.
Well, all right. So I guess we'll see what happens on Monday.
Yeah. I thought this was, again, 25 years following biotech. You don't think you could be surprised, but here it is. Well,
I mean, I have a special liking for the biotech companies. I think, they create just the right amount of pressure and demand, and for my business, it's always interesting.
Yeah, we settled a class action a long time ago at Retrophin. I forgot. You know what? It was like it might have been a 10B. It might have been a thing where I did a short swing profit, but it might have also been some other thing. Biotech's uniquely, kind of attuned to this because there's always data that management thinks is not material. And, at least 1 out of 5 or 10 companies kind of plays that a little too closely.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, we didn't think it was that big of a deal. So, how could you accuse us of fraud? Yeah, it's a point. Wow. But I'm so pleased just to get the privilege to speak with you. You've certainly been, you are quite an intelligent individual, in my opinion, notwithstanding what some of those other plaintiffs' firms might have said about you.
Yeah, it's all in the game. I understand it.
I love to work with shorts, and do contact some of the short funds, and it's always interesting to hear, your guys' perspectives. I don't know if you're doing that regularly or not.
Yeah, not too often. I just feel like, this is something I've never seen before. It's just a weird thing to do. I kind of understand it now, and I think it's probably legal. I think the bigger problem comes Monday where they have to reveal their data, and anybody who took a fine-tooth comb to this kind of already saw that, the writing on the wall. And this strange registered direct is kind of confirmation of that. Because again, if the data were fantastic and you cured Alzheimer's, you just wait till tomorrow. I mean,
two Alzheimer's companies I've been looking at is Cassava. I think they're down in Texas, and then some little company, Anavex.
Well, so you're going 3 for 3 because I was the big short seller in Cassava. I wrote a long piece on that, 40-page paper on it, and I made millions of dollars on that. And Anavex is coming soon, and Anavex is largely a scam.
I've tried to get them twice now. I just lost the other week.
I'm sorry to hear it, but you have plenty of chances. I'll send you under separate cover some interesting stuff on that. But you probably are as good of a short seller as anybody, but you don't trade.
I mean, sometimes I think maybe I should do that instead of doing what I do now, because I think the return on investment actually doing the short selling is probably much better.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's also frustrating because the hope springs eternal, and there's always a sucker born every minute. There's a guy that lost $70 million in cassava.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I've spoken with him already.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to speak with him again.
I talked to him and I begged him. I said, Matt, you don't know biotech. I can tell. I've been doing this my whole life. You're going to lose all your money. If you want to make a big splash in biotech, start with 5 million. I deal with guys, some of the biggest names in business. Even Bill Gates doesn't put $70 million in a random biotech.
Lost so much money on cassava. I mean, it's incredible. And I don't think he's probably said the same to you. He wants to purchase the assets out of bankruptcy when the time comes.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen.
Sure.
I've done that successfully. This drug just was for fraud from the start. The chemistry didn't make sense, et cetera. And, I really begged him to sort of, this isn't an easy industry to just wade into. Shoot the lights out.
Right. Yeah. Well, he must be okay, because I don't think he's starving, notwithstanding.
No, I don't think so either. But, ultimately, like I said, even every now and then I cross paths with some of the luminaries, and, you'll see a guy like Bezos or someone like that who's far richer than this guy. They'll throw in 5 million in a deal. They're not throwing 70 million in. It's a lot of money for an individual. A fund is another story, but a person, that's. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Martin, can I get your email? I'll send you an email.
Yeah, it's martin@dl.software. I make financial software, so I see your guy's name on every. In fact, we made a thing that's like hide class action lawsuits. It's such it's just such a thing for institutions that, it's reminder, class deadline, and I think we're the only firm that's done that, which is, I think, some people want to see them, which is fine. You can see them if you want.
But I'll tell you, not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's a lot of volume. I think you guys are the best in the business, and everybody wants market share, but it's, and I can't look. It's your complete right to do so. It's just that some of our clients don't want to read them, and that's and some of them do.
You said it was Martin at what?
DL, deep learning, DL.software. That's actually
DL.software.
Yep, that's it. DL.software. Yep.
.com?
Nope. It's just DL.software.
DL.software.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
They added that one. All right. Well, have a great weekend, Adam. Thanks for
You too, Martin.
getting me on a Friday. You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot about how these guys work. It's pretty rare to see these guys dropping gigantic numbers, duck hammer. Yeah, it's every now and then. So they're not doing the ATM, Michael. It's not an ATM. They definitely could not do an ATM. They did a register direct. No, I think I might short more. It really, do you have another calculus that makes sense? Is there look, I'm open-minded. Is there an alternative to what I just described? The only alternative, okay, look, here's an alternative, and this could be real. A hedge fund looks at it, okay, they say, they don't care about the stock price, okay? They say, Oh, I forgot you guys existed. You guys are coming out with data on Monday. Isn't that right? Yes, it is. Well, what I'd like to do is put 20 million in the company. Really? You know I can't tell you the data, right? I know, but I want to do it. I'm bullish, and they're earnestly bullish. And the fund says, put me in. What price do you want to do? And they say, well, the NASDAQ last sale rule says we have to do it at 630. I can't do it at a higher price. That's the highest price I can do it at. I can do it at a discount to 630, but you don't want that. Stock's at 14. And they say, all right, shake hands. We'll do it then. But again, if I were the company, I wouldn't take the money on Friday, right? That doesn't add up, because if it's Friday and you know the data's good, why in the world? You say, if I were the CFO, and I've been the CEO of a company in this exact situation, I'd say, listen, Larry, Steve, John, whoever called me, I love you. I wish I could give you shares right now. You're just going to have to see on Monday. And on Monday, I drop the best data ever. I go to Morgan Stanley. No offense to the wonderful people at the smaller bank. Every bank has clients, and they need clients big and small. I'd go to Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs, and I'd say, get me the Baker Brothers, get me Fidelity, we're the new kid on the block, big Alzheimer's drug, I'm raising 600 million, 200 million, whatever. And I'd say, no thanks to the $6. Those days are over. We're talking $60, right? So it doesn't make sense. It has to be bad. Damn, homie, you do it like this? Damn. Data's good. I'm not fucking. If I'm the CEO of this company, I'm shorting more. Fuck this shit. If I'm the CEO of this company, why? Why would I do this deal? I would say I worked so hard for so long to start this company and to build it up, and you want to scam me by buying stock at 6, and I'm about to fucking unleash the best data I've been waiting years for, and you want stock at 6? No way. The only way I'm doing this is I'm looking at it saying this data sucks. I got nothing in the tank. I got a couple million left. I want to keep going with this thing. Maybe I'll try depression. Maybe I'll try Alzheimer's again. It doesn't matter. But I want to keep going with this thing. I'm going to need some cash. 20 million lasts a little bit. That lasts a good year. Let me get this 20 million, drop our bomb on Monday, try to spin it as best we can, but I need this 20 million. There's no way the stock's worth $6.30 if management is willing to sell at $6.30. Make sense? Makes sense, don't it? I can't find another explanation. I mean, I'd love to have a long come in here and figure that out, but let me get as much short as I can here. Maybe running out of borrow here. Hold on, let me try my other brokers. Well, yeah, you can calculate the new book value of the company, but I don't know if that's a bullish thing. If the results are semi-good, you would wait for the results on Monday. Why would you take the cash now? All right, so there's 23 million shares before. They're selling 3, so there's 26 million shares. Yeah, it's still $1. Still $1 of cash. Have you ever seen this? This fucking crazy shit. This is crazy shit. Hard to borrow, hard to borrow, hard to borrow. I mean, where could I be wrong? Anybody? No, you can't give good data to your friend. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Plus, none of these guys are friends with them. Yeah, I would be bouncing if I were along here. Freeing up some cash to... Result could be good. If the result could be good, why in the world would they sell stock at this price? And if the result's good, everyone's going to sue them and say you should have waited till Monday. Right? Man, nearly enough this fucking stock in this account I have. It's never enough. It's never enough when you have a winner, right? This security is restricted from short sale transactions. They took my button away. What the fuck? They took my sell button away. It's not an ATM. You guys saying ATM, you're wrong. It's a registered direct. It's not an ATM. Apes are gone. Here, let me show you. Now I know how they feel. Now I know. Now I know how you guys feel. They took my button. Houseway. You ain't got the answers, man. Sway had the answers all along. I don't see, this is baggy logic here. I don't see any reason that institutions would buy 3 million shares at 6. Okay, let me give you a reason. Hold on, I gotta log in here. The reason is called arbitrage. Check it out. Oh, I'm bullish. I'm clicking bullish. Lure in the shorts for a squeeze. What? You guys think this is like Mission Impossible or something? I love it. Oh, they're planning the data around the shorts. Companies don't think about the shorts. They don't give a fuck. The guy's sitting there, he's got $4 million left in his fucking balance sheet. He needs another 20 so he can pay himself a salary. Buy his grandkids some toys. He's not sitting there thinking about the shorts. What are the shorts doing right now? I have to fuck them. What? How conspiratorial can you be? I got this data on Alzheimer's. My company's life hangs in the balance. What are the short sellers thinking? I never once thought about shorts in my stock. Never. Who cares? Make the business. Make the business grow. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, the board meeting. At the board meeting. How does this affect the short sellers? That's my question. Who invited this guy on the board, man? We represent the shareholders. No, book value is fucking maybe $1 at this point. Remember, the Q2 is over. They don't have much cash left. Yeah, I keep asking ChatGPT, Hoop Fan. I'm curious, under what circumstance could this be a smart thing to do? Here, let me ask ChatGPT. So I already started the discussion. Under what circumstance would it make sense for the company to issue shares? The only thing that makes sense to me is if the data coming on Monday were bad. Otherwise, the company could simply wait a day. Can you think of any circumstances where proceeding with an RD with MNPI, with major MNPI, would make sense? You're absolutely right to flag this tension. Why would a company issue shares now while holding material non-public information, MNPI, unless that information were negative and about to be disclosed? Below is a breakdown of scenarios where it might make sense, but also why each comes with significant risk or complexity. 1. Imminent negative news that will depress the stock. If the company expects material bad news, like a failed clinical trial, it might want to raise money while the stock is still elevated. The risk. This is legally dangerous unless they disclose that information before or with the offering. Otherwise, it's a textbook example of securities fraud. 2. Desperate liquidity needs. If the company is nearing cash exhaustion, management might feel like they have no choice. Even if the data was good, waiting 24 hours may risk vendor defaults, breach financial agreements, etc. Plausible for microcaps or distressed biotech. 3. Highly volatile stock with high borrow cost. If the stock is extremely volatile, the company may wish to strike while the window is open, trading at levels it deems unsustainable. If they fear the Monday's news might cool speculative momentum, even if it's not bad, they might want to sell at 12 rather than at 9.50. Strategically makes sense, but they still can't do it with undisclosed MNPI. They believe the MNPI is not material. The clinical trial data is coming on Monday. They announced on Thursday the timing of the results. Monday, 8 a.m. conference call. The deal, the registered direct, is happening today, Friday. 2 funds bought the stock at 6:30 while it was trading at 12 to 14. Now it's at 571. Why would the company do this? You just described a classic biotech financing scenario that stinks to high heaven. Thanks, ChatGPT. A registered direct priced before binary data, after a press release confirming the Monday reveal. Jesus Christ. Here's an in-depth breakdown of what likely happened, why it may have been legal, but deeply controversial, and what it suggests. The company announced 8 a.m. clinical trial readout. Fact. Confirms company was in possession of MNPI as of Thursday. Company prices a registered direct on Friday at $6.30. MNPI is still not public, yet the offering occurs. Wouldn't you have liked to be in that deal? Stock had traded up to 12 to 14 recently, likely speculative run-up ahead of the data, right? 2 institutions participate at 6:30. Implies they were wall-crossed or otherwise tipped. Let's assume they were not wall-crossed and simply wanted to arbitrage. Sell at 12, buy at 6:30. Great instant profit. Isn't that the most likely explanation? Is there any other explanation? Stock crashes to 571 after the deal. Either a leak or fear of bad data, or the deal mechanics tanked sentiment. What could have happened? 3 scenarios. MNPI was shared improperly. The institutions were not wall-crossed and traded in advance. They shorted or received hints about the trial data, which would be a serious insider trading violation. The steep discount, size of the trade, and timing raises red flags. If the funds were allowed to trade ahead while in possession of MNPI, this is textbook 10b5 insider trading. Or the institutions were properly wall-crossed, but then they're restricted from trading. This is the most likely scenario. The company feared bad data, or has bad data, knew or feared the data would be bad, knew the stock would crash, and needed cash to avoid a liquidity crisis. The only logic is raise cash before Monday, even if it meant burning the common. This is desperation financing. Get it while you can, while the stock trades over 10, even if you dilute at 6:30. The massive discount is what it took to get the deal done. As long as they disclose the timing of the data, the investors were wall-crossed or restricted, the company may technically be in the clear. But if any data was shared or even strongly implied, they're exposed. So they can't say, we think it's prudent to do it now. You get it? Expect this to attract attention from SEC enforcement, the plaintiff's bar, investor class actions, that's our buddies, Levi and Krasinski, or Twitter, and ex-biotech analysts and traders, already probably flaming them. Fucking ChatGPT is so good. Why the stock crashed. Okay, if the fund's shorted at 12 and covered at 6:30, and they are covering with the 6:30 paper, man, these ChatGPT knows the lingo and everything. If the fund's shorted at 12 and are covering with 6:30 paper, that's ugly. Signal dilution shock. Issuing at 6:30 when the stock trades at 12 is deeply dilutive. Signal of weak confidence. Investors interpret this as management signaling lack of faith in Monday data. TLDR, why would they do this? Desperate for cash, expecting data to be bad, trying to sell while there's still liquidity, and price support and willing to crater the stock in exchange for survival. It's rational from a survivalist corporate finance perspective, but a betrayal of retail and momentum investors. Oh my God. I love this. And it often leads to long-term reputational damage for both management and participating funds. Oh my God. I was unaware of your game. You're thinking clearly, and yes, if they were not wall-crossed and got into the RD while shorting the stock at 12 or 14, they just pulled off one of the cleanest, nastiest arbitrage trades in biotech. So clean. That was so clean. Cleanest, nastiest arbitrage trades in biotech. So fucking clean. Oh man. I wish I was that guy, bro. Whoever did this trade, bro, they are that guy. You got my fucking, they're doing this right now. This is simple. Whoever did this. That's it. Nasty, cleanest, nastiest, no risk. Just juked him. Call him Mr. Clean Capital Management. Yes, Clean Capital Management. How may I help you? A free 10 million? Sure, I'll take it. Michael, you got it wrong, though, because you said ATM. I said they can't do an ATM. But yeah, I'll give you half credit, Michael. All right, I'll give you half credit. Most likely explanation. Unrestricted institutional arbitrage. Let's hear that guy Carter or Karsten, whatever the fuck his name is, the Europor. No, that's not the most likely explanation. The most likely explanation is it's a cure for Alzheimer's, like my last 3 picks. You guys got to retire, man. Stock trades to 14. 2 funds short the stock aggressively. Participate in the freely tradable RD 630. Stock collapsed to 571 as dilution kicks in, retail flees, and arbitrage selling pressure hits the tape. Why could they do this legally? No MNPI, effective shelf, freely tradable, no wall cross, so no restriction, not in possession of MNPI, so just trading intelligently. Pure riskless arbitrage. Short high, buy low, at a 2x return in 24 hours. But how, Sway? How? How? Why would the company do this? Why? Why? This Karsten's fucking retard. No warrants that I see. Imagine they did warrants. Imagine they did some warrants.
Or do you want to marginalize me till I'm out of my moment?
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back to go.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye.
I've been doing this more than you.
Doing what?
You ain't got.
Come on, chill out.
You
bro.
ain't got the answers.
Kanye,
you ain't got the answers.
Bro, I'm asking you.
You
a
ain't
question.
been doing the education,
bro.
You ain't been doing the education.
Kanye, calm down.
You don't have the answers though,
Calm down.
because you trying to give me advice about something. You ain't got the answer. You ain't spent $13 million of your own money trying to empower yourself.
Yes, but I spent hundreds of thousands and putting out clothing lines at a smaller degree. All I'm asking you,
And it ain't no Ralph though. It ain't Ralph level.
It ain't Ralph.
I'm asking
What's the
you,
name of your clothing line? We don't know.
We
You
don't
know
know.
what I'm saying?
Because I lost money, but that's not
Exactly, and I could lose money on a higher level too.
And that's what
Don't
I'm
think
asking
just
you.
because.
Why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Why would the company allow this? Why? Why would they do it? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Oh no. Oh no, don't tell me. Because they were so desperate for cash, they were willing to get fleeced. Possible reasons: cash runway ending immediately, can't make payroll or owe milestone payments, debt covenant breach unless cash raised by quarter end, bad data coming Monday, so 12 to 14 is a gift. It's a gift. Did you take advantage of that gift like I told you to? Did you sell half? Well, you don't have to be greedy. Just sell half. You get a free punt on Monday, right? You sell at 14, doesn't matter what happens on Monday. Worst case scenario, I break even. But were you greedy? Were you Vince McMahon greedy? Was this you? Is this a photo from you last night? I think so. I think this is what you were doing. You were counting the dollars. Oh yeah, that smells good. Vince? Oh, that smells good. I like that. Look at my account going up. Oh. I love the smell of money. You could have sold half and said, look, Monday, it can fail. I don't care. I get a free call option. I bet Shkreli's sweating right now. I bet he has to cover. Nope. No, I didn't get the call to be in that deal, or I would have gone to my girl's purse. I've got to everybody. 6:30. You want to sell me? It's 14 right now. Are you looking at yesterday's price by accident? It's 6:30. 6:30. Like 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 .30, right? $6.30, like a Big Mac. Not extra value meal. Not double fries. Like a medium. You sure you don't, you know it's 14 right now, right? No other buyers were willing to participate unless they could game it. These hedge funds likely said, sure, we'll do it, but only if we can sell ahead and hedge. No wall cross. Give us free trading share at 6:30. Company, fine, just wire the cash. Are there any other explanations? Let's test some alternatives here. Long only funds with high conviction. They just love the company and the data setup. Then why buy at a 50% discount? Why not buy in the open market at 12? Why would the company issue at 6:30 if there was demand at 12? No chance. This was not long only. How does it know all this stuff? I could challenge that in a second, but let's go on. Fundamental buyers with non-MPI info. They think the data is positive and want to get in size. They'd be happy to buy at 12, even 10. Register direct at 6:30 would be unnecessary. Massive discount is massive signal. Longs wouldn't want that. Still doesn't explain the stock tanking or the exact timing. Company wants to reward friendly shareholders. This was insider friendly. It could be, but even friendly shareholders don't want to be down 50% on day one, unless they shorted into the print. Again, I can't believe it knows all the slang. Then it becomes arbitrage, not a favor. Even friendly setups must make economic sense. What this really was, Biotech's version of a backdoor pipe. Looks like a pipe, acts like a pipe, but because it's registered, there's no holding period. Only difference, no restriction on shorting. So the funds did a pipe-like trade without pipe restrictions. It's legal so long as the investors had no MPI and were not wall crossed, but it's predatory and devastating to retail. No wall cross, investors free to short. Huge discount, company desperate or misjudged. Stock collapse, arbitrage unwind, and retail panic. Clean trade. Possibly the most profitable biotech ARB of the year. Birdman. Unless there was simultaneous release of MMPI, there wasn't, or a last-minute disclosure, that would reclassify these trades, your instincts are correct. They weren't wall crossed, they weren't restricted. They just shorted into the pump and covered the RD. The company let it happen because they had no choice. The company is called INMMB. The only holders of record are inbred. On this point, couldn't it be the case that someone was just super bullish? Yes, technically you'd be someone who's super bullish, convictional, and long only. Convictional. But let's pressure test that theory hard, because while it's impossible, it's also extremely unlikely, given how the deal went down. Here's the breakdown. Could it be a bullish long only bet? A fund believes Monday data will be wildly positive. CNS trial breakthrough. They know the company desperately needs cash to fund the commercialization runway or continuation. The stock has run up to 12 based on the readout of the data. It's coming on Monday. The fund wants sizable exposure, but doesn't want to chase a thin float. So they propose or agree to a registered deal at a deep discount. They take the whole allocation, wait for the data, and ride it. Yes, this is theoretically possible. This is the hero fund scenario. Why this is unlikely in practice. Why would a bull buy at 630 when it's at 12 in the open market? A true long-only believer would want the company to raise at market or near market. That's true. A deep discount craters the stock and reduces their mark-to-market return. A bull wants other investors to believe too. $6.30 RD kills the setup. Why the immediate stock collapse? If this were true long-only, they'd be holding, not selling. No hedge, no shorting, just long conviction. But the stock collapsed intraday right after the RD was announced. That's massive selling pressure. Doesn't come from conviction longs. That move screams someone sold aggressively or shorted. Market behavior reflects lack of faith. The open market reaction is almost always a referendum on the perceived integrity and confidence of the company. If a long only stepped in bullishly, you'd accept a modest dip, or they'd buy more. Only holders of record are inbred. That's a reference to insiders or affiliates tightly controlling the float, long-term retail trapped at high prices, no real institutional base. Then this setup is even more ripe for abuse. It makes a true long-only even less likely because there's no active institutional base. A buyer would be taking serious governance risks of buying while there's MNPI out there. If it was a strategic investor, they'd demand board visibility, a lockup to protect their position. Instead, freely trading shares, no hold period, immediate crash, hedge fund ARB, not long only. So I don't love this explanation because I want to say, I think you're wrong here because the bigger question is why would the company do it? You're analyzing it too much from the buyer's perspective. I hate leading ChatGPT. You're absolutely right. The core puzzle here is not why the funds did it, easy answer, money, but rather, why the hell, thank you, Vince McMahon, why the hell would the company do it to register direct at 6:30 while the stock was trading at 12 to 14, 2 days before binary clinical data? Why, Sway? That's the mystery. Now let's reframe everything from the management's perspective, not the hedge funds. What incentives might drive the company to do this? They believe the data will be bad. The company already knows or strongly suspects the data will disappoint. Even if they're not unblinded, they may know. They think the stock will collapse to 3 or below. They won't be able to raise at all. So what do? Raise now while the stock's still high, even if it requires giving hedge funds a sweetheart deal. Yes, it dilutes. Yes, it looks terrible, but it's survival. This is the most likely explanation for why the company would proceed. They're desperate for cash and can't wait until Monday. Jesus Christ. They were misled or out-negotiated by the buyers. Less cynical. Management was convinced that a quick, clean deal was the best options. The funds told them, look, stock is volatile. Everyone's scared. We'll do a block at 6:30. No commissions, instant capital, no lockup. This would be gross mismanagement, but not criminal, just naive. This theory is dark, but not implausible. undisclosed relationships, side letters, backdoor kickbacks. They plan to release incredible data and think the investors will forget. Doesn't align with the stock's immediate collapse, which reflects zero confidence. Raise after the data, price at market, use ATM mechanisms more carefully. Why would the company do this? Data is great, and this is just smart. Then why tank your own stock on Friday? They expect bad data, plausibility, 3 out of 3. They're cash desperate now, 2 out of 3. Can't wait 72 hours. Accounts are going to run dry. They can't afford the conference call. They got rolled by funds, 1 out of 3. Insiders or friends benefit, 0 out of 3. Data is great, 0 out of 3. Let's see, last quarter they had 19 million in cash. But here's what people never look at, which is really important here, is they had 7 million in accounts payable, which, unlike companies with real working capital, that is basically debt has to be paid. So net cash is 12 million. And they burn 7 million a quarter. We can conclusively explain why they did this, even if it looks suicidal. Real net cash position is 12 million. Accounts payable is real money owed to CROs and clinical vendors. It's not just normal working capital. Data lock for the very data being released. 7 million must be paid. So the usable discretionary cash is 12 million, maybe less. Remember, 7 million a quarter. So now they're down to 5. You got 5 million in the bank left. You need to do a deal. Wait till Monday. Well, Monday you're doing the deal at 10 cents. If data on Monday is bad, stock goes to 2 or 3, capital markets closed. If the data is ambiguous, stocks may be flat or down, not enough to raise. Even if the data is great, there's still execution risk, limited institutional trust. They don't have the luxury of waiting until Monday to see what happens. Raise it now, even if it's massive dilution in retail trust, because survival is more important than valuation. Well, I shorted some more. I hate to short tiny market caps. E-Trade has restricted short selling on the stock. No, the CEO benefits, I guess, because he gets to pay his salary a little bit longer, gets to get severance. Severance is always nice. Did you say investor relations just quit? Sarepta, is that right? Yeah, we're still short IonQ. I mean, if you're along and you're still desperately waiting for Monday and praying that the data is going to be good, I mean, investing is not about praying and hoping. It's about taking intelligent risk-reward decisions. And here's the data I wanted to show you guys, okay? So this story all started let me do these terrible drawings again. I actually have a pad to draw with, but I don't use it. So this data all started years ago. There was a healthcare data analysis that was done. It was just torrents of data, like 50 million patients, okay? And they went into this database. This is how you draw a database in computer science. It's very scientific, in fact. And you mirror or diagram enjoyers know what I'm talking about here. Very, very scientific. So this is the database. Now, you go into a list of 50 million people, and you find that, and it's the same fucking story every time, and nobody ever learns, but we did this with cassava. I feel like I'm repeating myself. You go into this 50 million person database and you sort it, and you say, which group of patients of these 50 million, sorted by ICD-9 codes, okay? Whatever, ICD-9 or ICD-10. Sort it and tell me which diagnosis of patient had the biggest decrease in dementia given an intervention. You can do this with SQL. And boop, 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 out comes out. It turns out that people who took TNF-alpha inhibitors that had rheumatoid arthritis versus people who did not take TNF-alpha inhibitors who had rheumatoid arthritis had a decrease in dementia. Now, again, you have to be half a retard to think that this is causal. But there are people who are full retards, not just half a retard. Just because you see a list and you sort it, you can sort it. You can press this button. There will be, by definition, there will be a winner and a loser. There will be a situation where it looks like it's causing Alzheimer's, and there'll be a situation where it looks like it's removing Alzheimer's. If you score it from 1 to 50 million, you will get that, or whatever, how many ICD-9 entries there are. And this is called multiple error correction. It's a simple concept in statistics. For example, Bonferroni correction. I gave a talk about this at Harvard 10 years ago. It is the most common mental error people make. They ascribe causality where it doesn't exist. If I looked at a histogram of my live streams to try to figure out where the most viewers watched, what minute and what second, and I see that at 3 minutes, this was the time that most viewers watched, and I look back at the content to see what they liked the most about the content, and I tried to recreate that content, that's probably more causal than this. It was more like if I flipped a coin 10 million times and I found the distribution, the stretches of times in that coin where I was above 50%, I would say those are my good times and I need to do those at that exact hour. Or if I looked at pi and I tried to find a stretch of digits, in fact, there's a proof that says any stretch of digits you can imagine, like 666 will occur in pi. In fact, 10 sixes, 50 sixes, it'll eventually occur. So, we are often fooled by randomness, is my point. And, this study convinced some people that maybe TNF-alpha inhibitors reduce Alzheimer's, even though it's a retrospective study that has no causal inference. This has been disproved many, many times. And I'm going to show you the main disproof of it. But this was what started all this nonsense. Where's the main disproof? Well, so glad you asked. It was called the RESIST study. And the RESIST study was done recently. And the problem with Bayesian inference is that recent things tend to not be quickly absorbed by people. There's often a inability to quickly understand and absorb new information. That's why markets are inefficient, I think. But here's a study. They said 251 patients with rheumatoid arthritis, same thing that started this whole mess, people with rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disease, They take TNF alpha inhibitors versus a standard old style drug, and they did 18-month assessments. No significant changes was observed in either treatment group. No cognitive decline in participants being treated with TNF and DMARDs. No delta. And in fact, the DMARDs don't separate from placebo either. Prednisone, for example, is one such DMARD, but there are many others. Hydroxychloroquine, sulfasalazine, methotrexate's the main one. No separation. In fact, DMARDs were better than TNF in some cases. There's an even worse, there's so many other worse things here. Yeah, there are not too many biotech experts that want to talk about this stuff. You know, you've got the big funds, RTW, Baker Brothers, Perceptive. I think these are the kings of biotech, more or less. I mean, I'm sure there's others, and I hope I'm not insulting anybody by excluding them off the list. But these are three of the kings of biotech. They don't want to talk about, you know, their investments, and that makes sense as to why, right? I mean, they got to serve their clients, not you. So it stands to reason. They're busy too, you know. They're making plenty of money doing their job, so you can't blame them. And they're not always right either, right? They're very good, but they're not always right. So I want to show you, you know, like a tree of autoimmune nodes. And these are not going to be labeled, but you can imagine them being labeled with TNF, with IL-6, with all kinds of things. And this is, you know, a little bit about how biology kind of works. You have this tree structure. I've been doing a lot of computer science lately, so I've been in tree structures, but you can call this a graph. And this is not exactly the way it works, because you also have some overlap, like this node might be shared by two things, like P38 or something like that. Okay, and so we're going to make one of these nodes green for TNF alpha. Okay, so this is TNF alpha. And the other problem, there's so many logical flaws in the bull thesis here. It's just like embarrassing. But that's why the stock's a microcap shitty stock that has no investors. But it takes a special kind of idiot to be bullish. So pretend this is autoimmunity and inflammation in the body. And this is TNF. And you say, the only way to stop Alzheimer's is by blockading this. We need to block this. This is the place where we need to inhibit. These are the nodes that matter. Forget the fact that these are all intersected. They actually don't look like this. In reality, all of these nodes kind of come together to form a very weird structure. But let's assume this is the case. Well, my first point here was that, well, prednisone covers all of these nodes, right? That's why it's kind of the master autoimmune drug. It covers everything. And the obvious reaction, look, I've been around biotech longer than almost anybody here. I mean, a handful of guys that I mentioned, even those three master funds, there's only 3 or 4 guys that are older than me at this point. Prednisone is not TNF. That's why it's the yellow and not the green. But it includes the green. But prednisone does not work. Okay, fine. What about this guy? Well, this guy includes the green, but it also includes some other things. Maybe this guy will work. Nope, that blue guy didn't work either. Well, all right, well, what about this guy? This guy's downstream of TNF. It's called COX-2. Let's just inhibit that. Let me draw the blue box. The blue box didn't work. Okay, so a superset didn't work. A bigger superset didn't work. What about a subset? Let's do a subset. The subset, COX-2 inhibitors, that didn't work either. So the superset doesn't work. The subsets don't work. They even did one that's kind of like this. Like I said, this was sort of, to me, P38. This was steroids. This was COX-2. None of these improved Alzheimer's. So you want to tell me that it's this exact box of the nodes that we have to hit, even though these are massively redundant, they do the same thing, they're autocrine, they're sort of self-amplifying. No, it has to be the green box. If you do the yellow box, that's a problem. If you do the blue box, that's a problem. If you do the pink box, that's a problem. Purple box, that's a problem. It has to be the green box. You're starting to strain credulity here, because if you look at the rest of the way medicine works, let's take rheumatoid arthritis for that matter. If you give a JAK inhibitor, this is just basic medicine. If you've been around the block, you know this stuff. If you give a JAK inhibitor, does it work in RA? Yes, it does. If you give a TNF alpha, this is the green, does it work in RA? Yes, it does. If you give a P38, no, it doesn't. That was a surprise when that happened. If you give steroids, yes, it does. COX-2, more or less, maybe that's in the middle, but more or less doesn't really work. So you can kind of see, all right, well, sometimes it works. But here in Alzheimer's, you want to say, no, steroids don't work, P38 doesn't work, COX-2 doesn't work, JAK doesn't work, but it has to be TNF that works. How does that make sense? Where does that make sense? And of course, there's some preclinical studies that you can look at that you think maybe that makes sense. Those have flaws too. Those have massive flaws. There was a study done that showed the opposite. Somebody said, that Shkreli is that kid that said actually in school. Yeah, that's my job. My job is to figure out the actually you're wrong. I'm going to take your money. That is exactly what I do. Thank you. I don't want to take too much of a victory lap before Monday because data's not out yet, but here's why I went short. What do you mean? Are we invading Canada? Let's go. Yeah, don't talk shit about me. I have an exquisite nose for people talking shit about me. I can hear it a mile away. What's that? Somebody says I'm stupid. What? So there are a number of really amazing. Yes, they've seen the data, for crying out loud. I've read some of these papers. And I can show you some fascinating results. That take apart the preclinical, and then we can take apart the PK too. Look, drug development's hard. I don't fault anybody for getting it wrong. I've gotten my fair share of drug development wrong too. So this is a Spanish group that did this. There's a different form of this out. Hold on. I can actually just kind of do it through here. Okay, so yeah, here they block TNFR2. They do some fairly interesting work here. So here they show that you have to block TNFR2. to rescue synaptosome integrity in mice. And this is the exact opposite of what the company wants to claim. That you must block TNF2 in certain places, that it's causing bad inflammation. The company claims that TNF2 is the hero in the story. But unfortunately, this data proves, or suggests at least, otherwise. So there's a lot of nitpicking here, but there's a couple of really fascinating supplementary data too. There's some that just made me go wild, because they showed that TNF2 agonism does not reduce A-beta 42. And then the PK stuff is also pretty funny. So anyway, we'll see what happens. But, it's, I don't know if I have more diligence to do here. This is just pretty much a open and short. Open and shut? Is that right? Man, Circle was a wild ride. A couple of us were shorted. I never shorted. I was too distracted with all kinds of things that I'm doing here. But Circle, we went long. We caught some of this, but we missed the most of the rocket ship. At least I did. Some of you guys maybe held on. It went from the deal price at 30 to 300. Now it's almost half of that, 180. Oh, I bought that dude's website. So what is he? This guy. He's been saying that Immune is a unicorn? Oh, this was a good pun. Flowers for Alzion, because there's a great book called Flowers for Algernon. So that's actually a fairly good pun. I'll give you that. Carl Kestens, that's his name. I mean, I don't know why this guy has real estate in my head, because he's an amateur investor, but he was so certain that Immune, the unicorn in Immune, a good Alzheimer's drug, is worth far beyond $100 billion. Well, just to make sure he doesn't delete all of his stuff, I have purchased a website called carlkestens.com. It will be launching soon. We will make sure that forevermore we have Carl Kestens' great stock picks immortalized right here on this website. Just so we never forget, Oh, I've invited him on the show. I don't have a show, by the way, but I've invited him to chat. He's a little bit afraid. And I can be very imposing. You wouldn't want to cross me in a courtroom. But he's a lawyer. I'm just what do I know? I'm not going to say any character attacks. I'm just going to put what he wrote up, just so he can't delete it. I've asked him to come on 1,000,000 times. He can't. It's a Dunning-Kruger. The guy just started looking at bio. Same thing as Matt Nacktrab. This is my I don't know. It's like a side hustle for me, just taking these guys' money. The Dunning-Kruger guys who show up. You've probably seen it at a poker table. A guy shows up, says, yeah, I know how to count my outs. I know how to bluff. I know a little game theory, optimal poker. Let me sit down with, who's this bum, Phil Hellmuth? I got you. Why is my chip stack dropping? I can't believe it. It must be an error. Let me go upstairs and get more chips. Tray of chips. Cash me in, dealer. Dealer's looking at you like, bruh, maybe you want to take a seat, bruh. Go home. Come back tomorrow. I got this. Give me the cards. 2 aces, huh? All in. Phil Hellmuth's like, okay, I know this guy has 2 aces. What can beat 2 aces? 7, 8 diamonds. You know what? I call. He called! I'm I'm 60-40 to win. Oh, man. Diamond. Ah, it's over. How'd you know? Do you have infrared vision? Did you look at my cards? I don't know. It really, I mean, nobody likes to put it this way, but it'd be like me playing Kasparov. You know, I'm 1400. I've never studied chess. Even though I've taken classes from grandmasters, I just don't like to study chess. You know, the highest rating I've ever been was maybe 1600, and it's just not my thing. I like playing, you know. I've beaten some players at higher ratings, but yeah, I'm not very good at chess. And if somebody says, Martin, I'm giving you an opportunity to play Garry Kasparov, I'd say, wonderful. I'd love to play Garry Kasparov. He's a hero. He's brilliant. And they say, there's just one problem, Martin. You got to pay to play Garry. So I'll make a donation to any charity he wants. I'll donate $5,000 to the Boys and Girls Club of Manhattan. All right? Sound good? And they say, Garry has a different idea in mind, Mr. Shkreli. So what's that? And he says, he wants to bet you $10 million in the outcome of the game. And they say, well, you know what? By God, I'll take it. And I go start reading books. I read my system. I read how to reassess your chess. I read all the Patzer books. I'm studying. I get up to 1900 on League Chess. I'm ready to beat Garry. I show up, I lose in 12 moves. I'm down a queen. I owe him $10 million. This is what you guys do daily, on a daily basis in the stock market. Stop it. There are Garry Kasparovs out there. The whole market's full of them. They get more capital than you. It's a very weird dynamic because they have so much capital. It really is bizarre. Unlike chess or any other binary game, you go to a chess tournament. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but there's like the best ranked players sit on that far left table. I'm usually there. No, I'm usually somewhere over here. Yeah, I think this is like Swiss ranking or something like that. In every round, by the second or third round of the chess game, if you're 3-0, you're over here. And you play the other guy who's 3-0. The guys who are like 1-2 or 0-3, they're over here on table 19. So it looks like, okay, well, there's only 16 people here. Someone's going to win. I feel like I have a 1 in 16 chance. Stock market doesn't work that way. It's very pyramid driven. So here at the top is Citadel, Jane Street, Millennium, Point72. They have all the capital. Maybe it's an inverted pyramid. You're down here with your Robinhood account. And it takes 1 million of you, because there's only a couple of them. It takes 50 million Robinhood customers to challenge 5 hedge funds. And they will take your money. Not all the time, but usually the capital will flow from here to here. Jane Street made $20 billion last year. Citadel, whatever, 10 billion, et cetera, et cetera. Retail could have even made $1 billion because stocks are generally rising, or even $10 billion. But they underperformed the S&P. And they took way more risk. So when the market turns, they'll still make money. Jane Street makes money in any market, for example. It's a rigged game. I mean, basically, it's a rigged game. You're not going to win. Especially if you're not doing 80 hours a day studying investments. I mean, it's as good as likely as me beating Hikaru. I haven't spent my whole day. 80 hours a week. I'm getting older, guys. I wouldn't even... why do you want to be in the market? Normies shouldn't be in the market. Even index funds are bad, in my opinion. Just do it every year, Peter. You'll be rich. Anthony's right on that, too. Yeah, I'm like 90 years old. Trading is zero sum, in my opinion. In fact, I think trading is negative sum. Why? Okay. You think the S&P 500 goes up over time. Why? Because it has gone up over time. The problem is that's not a good inference to make. Why? Because just because something has happened doesn't mean it'll keep happening. In fact, it could do that tomorrow. You don't know. You don't know, Sway. You have no clue. Second, we got a little thing that presses this down called inflation. And you also don't know what this inflation will be. So your real return looks something like that. And then we got another thing that presses this down called taxes. So if in the case you do win, you're going to take a little bit of that too. Real returns for the S&P are somewhere around 2% net of all this shit. And that's the best case scenario with the best managed country. Other countries, they cancel the currency on your ass. They cancel the stock market on your ass. You just have to be around a while. You get 10 nice years over here. This was the 60s to the 80s. 20 nice years of underperformance. The average person, listen, focus on the things that make you happy. You want to make a lot of money, find a trade, a business where you can make a lot of money. The stock market is one such business, but you better be dedicating your whole life to it. If you love the market and you love investing, look at chess. Okay, let's not pick on chess. Let's pick on backgammon. There are people who play backgammon as much as chess and poker. Why would you spend your life looking at some plastic cards or some wooden pieces or throwing a dice in a backgammon game? It's because you love it. You know, you have an admiration for the beauty of the game. You just, some people call it the chess bug. Kids get bitten by. You just want to play. I went to Hunter College High School. I used to play chess all day in the hallway. Not even go to class. I just play chess. It's fun. And you know, if you love the market, you love stocks, you love the action, you love the businesses, yeah, work on Wall Street, man. It's great. But you want to participate from home? Okay, it's doable. But you really got to get into it. You can't have some other job. This is your job, right? You want to be serious about it? I'm just a grandmaster on the weekends. It doesn't work that way. Real stacks, you might want to look at last year's returns too. Yeah, you got 2 jobs. You got no time for investing. Can I beat Hikaru if he's down a queen? Jeez, I don't know. That whole down a queen business is a little fucked. Kind of a different game at that point. Play Leela without a queen? That might be fun. Yeah, there's fewer grandmasters than billionaires. I like that. No, Theta, I don't like those words. It was $20, Shiza. It was pretty funny. I mean, every time this happens, like, again, we'll see on Monday, but every time this happens, it's like, bruh. I've literally, just been doing this 20 years. Like, I write my stuff up. There's lots of it online. Yeah, I think I'm a GM at investing. I don't know. You know who's a great GM at investing? Peter Thiel. That man's a beast. That man is a beast. They could release the data today. I don't fucking know. That man is a beast. Stocks are a game, just like poker. Half the GMs I know, or IMs I know, they play poker. Game is a game. Can you be good at the game? That's it. I got a big position in Sarepta, and it's been a fucking dog. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have the time to write the article. Well, I also hope the people at INMMB tell the truth. I mean, there's a lot of risk here legally for them. And let me tell you something, you don't want that risk. Yeah, I don't think shorts can sue. I've looked into that. Monica and Lewinsky. I love that. Oh shit! New version of Godel just dropped. Sweet. I so don't want to look at stocks, but I love that people don't want to see me play chess. Yeah, it's just going through an update. Roll back. I wish I could play poker online. Yeah, I need vacation pretty bad. I agree. Agreed. Retail investors have always been degenerate. That's kind of the point. What would you want an RSS feed for? One stock I've always wanted to look at is ICE, which I have to be careful with because they are a partner. But it'd be cool to look at the company anyway. So ICE bought New York Stock Exchange, $101. Okay, looks like this is what we've been waiting for on Godel, V4, much faster. So here's trading view charts, I guess. So you guys want indicators and all that nonsense. Oh, I love watching the accelerator oscillator or the awesome oscillator. Those are my favorites. Those are critical. Oh, nice. So if I zoom out, I get more data. Sweet. I like that. And candles, I can change that to a line. Make sure you sign up for Godel. Right now, in fact, you can get 50% off with INMB 50 as your code. I need all these indicators. They're so important. Average price, true range, Bollinger. They got the Bolly bands? I need that. Elder's Force Index. That sounds elite. The Ichimoku Cloud? Bruh. MACD. Net volume, on balance volume, parabolic SAR, price channel. I need all that. It's going to make me a great investor. Buffett looks at it. Buffett may not look at these indicators. Buffett looks at all these indicators, baby. I like how if you add all the garbage indicators to it, it's kind of like, how do I get rid of them? Baggy pants. So if you go to Godel and you go on the bottom right, it says V4. And you can also go back to V3. And international is going to come soon. What is this? Did it persist my preferences maybe? Max profits, baby. There's no lifetime subscription on Godel, but you can just get a subscription. Poor INMB is going to be 4 soon. Start tripping balls. How do I select the candle? Oh, here we go. 1 hour candles. Damn. That's high res. I want 1 hour candles on 5-year. Let me break this thing. Okay, if I do 1 minute candles, it resets. How about 1 second candles? We're supposed to have that out soon. Maybe Monday. I've been waiting for this Godel release for months. Yeah, locked in for life is long gone. You can buy locked in accounts, but yeah, Godel is not intended for retail investors. I mean, you guys can use it. There's even a free version. We have a lot of users on free, but Godel is intended to compete with Bloomberg, not to compete with TradingView. We have more news than Bloomberg has per ticker. 50% more news than Bloomberg. Drinking my girl's coffee. As you know, she's 8 months pregnant. So when she sips a coffee, the baby starts doing backflips. It's like, yeah, let's go! Coffee! Woo! No, you can use the free version forever. Just go to godelterminal.com. It's free. I'm not going to let you run neural networks on my shit or do market making without paying, but yeah, I've heard the newborn stage is not fun. This wifey got me this one. Looks a little. This strawberry looks a little. Yeah, free for life, baby. Just when it asks you to put your credit card number in, just click X. Just nah, I ain't doing that, Skrelly. Get the fuck out of here. Just click X and you're good. The problem with TradingView is there's no fucking news. You have to click refresh to see the news? What the fuck is that? These people ever work on Wall Street ever? For us, if you just hit N, you have this insane real-time news. Again, more than Bloomberg. I could show you side by sides. When I got the Islamic Republic of Iran direct news wire, I knew we were Gucci. Private companies. So we have an exclusive partnership with a very, very, very big company, one of the two exchanges, for private market data. So they have the prices for privates like OpenAI. Let me show you. You know what? Let me show you one. I'm not supposed to show you this, but I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, bro. Hate these crackers anyway. Fuck these crackers anyway. That's what I say. Crackers can't stop me. What you gonna do? Put me back in jail? Let me show you this shit. Show you what I got. My own squad is gonna delete it. Be like, no, Skrelly, you're not supposed to show that. That's our relationship. Man, I'm gonna show that shit anyway. So I keeps it real. Fuck that. I keeps it real. Here, this is from Vlad. Vlad said, "Don't show this to them." I said, "I don't give a fuck. Come on, Vlad. These are my people. I hang out with them on YouTube all day." So, Martin, our corporation's more important than your YouTube friends. So, Vlad, talk to me like that again. I'll smack you upside the head, bro. Here, let me try to find a good way to display this. Okay, here we go. So this is the day-by-day valuation of OpenAI, Perplexity, and Anthropic. Day by day. Who has this? Nobody but me. This will soon be on Goodell. Damn, OpenAI is trading above deal price. OpenAI is at 325. OpenAI, see what you guys don't know, OpenAI, SpaceX, these stocks trade every day. Every day these stocks trade. They're more liquid than some of the damn stocks you guys trade. Getting it very soon, baby. Yeah, we know OpenAI is going to, we know Wifey's going to trillion. We know this. We already knew this. That's why I got long Wifey. OpenAI is going to 10 trillion. How about that? How you like me now? Yeah, I got Android charts for you too. Sign up to Godel now. Shit, we might just make markets in this shit. You want to buy some OpenAI? Come to Skrelly, baby. I got you. You want to buy some SpaceX, some Stripe?
Yeah, I might be able to facilitate. Listen, this is our trade. This is our internal data. All right, buddy. This is our internal. This is Vlad's internal development studio. All right. Don't worry about that. It'll be on Godel like every other. Like you'll be able to see the chart of OpenAI just like you can see the chart of any other stock. It's going to go into trading views charts. Nobody's got that. And you can do NI OpenAI. Let's say you own $100 million of OpenAI stock. You could just have your own OpenAI tape right here. It's not going to be as active as Google or NVIDIA. Oh shit, breaking news. Pastor, like you can't keep up with this news. Nigerian news right here. You're providing expensive champagne here, but you tell people to wear only one shoe. The news is hilarious. I love reading the news on stream. Okay, my doorbell's ringing. I wonder who that is. Probably wifey. Give me a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, the Supreme Court ruling was crazy. There was the Supreme Court talking shit about one of the own justices was pretty wild. I don't know if you guys saw that. So you can see here, there looks like there's news on OpenAI a couple times an hour. So if you want to do Anduril, you can do that too. You get news every few hours, it looks like, on Anduril. Shout out to Anduril. So pretty good for private company research because, and Bloomberg is too. They're fine. Just if you can afford it and if you get invited. Those guys are really not really friendly about bringing new people onto their platform.
But yeah, a lot of good stuff happening here at Godel. So this release has been a real albatross. I was going to start beating up guys in the office. Except for Vlad. Vlad opens the window for me. Man, this 3-0 sometimes doesn't work, man. It's annoying. So what do you guys think the probability of success for Immune is? I think I'm ready to do it. If they met their primary endpoint, okay, I will name my son Immune Shkreli. Yeah, I'm not sure Perplexity is going to succeed going after Bloomberg, but we'll see. I wish them luck. That's it. Immune Shkreli, 2 months from now. I'm betting his gender. Baby bet. That's a baby bet. Yes, I talked to wifey about it yesterday. Did I get her approval? No. That's my baby. No. Immune, middle name, Bio, Shkreli. Kid named D-Wave. If D-Wave comes up with the first quantum computer, change his name to D-Wave. Kids would just call him D. What up, D? Hey, what up? Wait, what? I want to know what this guy's saying. Everybody stop. Stop typing. Everybody ask Chicken Guys, what's up? What are you saying, bro? We want to know what you're saying, bro. Yeah, Alan Barrett's at Waymo is great. He doesn't realize the company's owned by Google. Could be the Trump Canada news. You can email me, Brian. I'll fix it. I don't think we don't have a Brian in at DL, so I don't see why you can't have Brian. You deserve your vanity username. Justin, I can't talk about starting a pharma company with you. I'm not going to start a pharma company. I'm legally not allowed to discuss that. Yeah, you can move the windows without a keyboard. I don't really want to be in pharma, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of a dead industry. You can use it without a mouse. You could use it with a mouse. I mean, mouse always adds more time. Our goal is to make it so that you never need a mouse, just like a terminal, normal terminal. But we have a lot of work to do. You know, it's early days for Godel. We're a year old. Yeah, exactly. Look at the XBI. Yeah, I'd probably be a scientist in math or physics or something. Yeah, look at the XBI index, and you can see just how dead biopharma has been for the last 15 years. I marked the top, man. I killed that shit. I said, if you ain't gonna let me in, then you ain't eating either. I ain't eating, you ain't eating. Yeah, I'd be in quantum, baby. It sounds like PRVs are going the way of the dinosaur, but there's people in this chat that are more expert in PRV than I am. I was an expert in PRV 10 years ago. Yeah, I wanted to buy FTX out of bankruptcy. Maybe I still should. What do you guys think? I like Regeneron. I mean, there's still going to be longs. You want to see the funniest thing about Inmune's website? Is if you use the search button and you hit advanced search, all this shit pops up. Clinical trials, confidential. Corporate presentation, confidential. What the fuck is this? Pipeline, confidential. What the fuck? Hi, kitty. Go to the website. The hell is this? Website's in shambles. Yeah, Immune has been Exava for sure. Poor Immune, almost 4. All right, let me see what ICE is all about. I never really studied this company. 2.5 billion revenue, 8% growth. Exchanges, fixed income and data, and mortgages. Huh.
want to see their 10. Okay. Energy is their biggest exchanges. Interesting. I think I knew that, but S&P Global also does this. Interesting company. You would think the owner of the New York Stock Exchange would be make more money from the stock exchange, but not really. Fascinating. Don't understand. Thought I got all this.
Don't get it. Oh, is this net revenue? Ah, got it. Such a high margin business, it's insane. Jesus Christ. Look at this. You see this, chat? 2.5 billion revenue. $1.6 operating income. That's a high. That's operating margin higher than Facebook. 66%. I'll be selling this company. Also be selling Godel to these guys. $1 billion. Ha! No way. $5 billion. 10. 10 sounds even better. Yeah, I mean, it's a mature company. I mean, it's New York Stock Exchange is 200 years old, for crying out loud. I talk about Sarepta every day. What do you want to know? It's a gigantic piece of dog shit. Okay, you happy? But this is why we have longs and we have shorts, so. Do your own deep dive. What do I look like? Scuba diver to you? That's what you got Shkreli doing scuba? I could barely swim. I'm from New York. We don't learn to swim here. It's a concrete jungle. Yeah, I sold all that dog shit. You guys are holding the bag now. No, it's still my biggest long. I own it's 10%. 10% position. I did make a little room to short some Immune. But no change in faith there, just because Immune's a immediate situation. Could be snaking. I'm not sure it would make a difference. Well, it's not my biggest long because I don't think it'll recover. Some of you guys, the questions you ask, it makes me want to just never stream again, quite frankly. Okay? Makes me want to run and cry for the sake of humanity, the status of humanity. Do you think it can recover? Well, I just told you it was my biggest investment. So, no, it's over. The world needs a culling like never before.
Billions must die. I don't know if you guys know the song. Major song here.
I'm under 6 feet tall. I wish I had 8, 10 eyes. Don't talk to females. Just jerk off and cry.
All my chuds.
Chat screw her daily. Just like a whore.
Hate these women.
All women are evil.
Damn right. Incels, stand up.
They're so fucking evil. But I'm a chud. I'm an incel. What are they doing here? Billions must die. Circumcised us all.
All right, it gets a little crazy. Who said that? Stop that.
I want a perfect jawline. I want an Aryan soul.
Shut.
They don't want you to notice when they are around.
Oh man.
No fucking foreskin. I wish I had foreskin. But I'm a chud. I'm an incel.
Listen, I don't want any of my investors to get mad at me. Okay? Vote for Eric Adams. Israel is our greatest ally. It's pretty simple, okay? Die for Israel. That's damn right, you'll die for Israel. Damn right you're gonna die for Israel.
But I'm only finding coal.
Wait, I don't even know this part.
So I wanna post some gems, but I'm only finding coal.
I don't even know what he's saying.
So fucking over. It is so over, 'cause I'm a chud. I'm an incel. What are they doing here? The West has fallen.
The West has fallen.
The West has fallen.
Yep. It's true. The West has fallen. Billions must die. Sure would be nice if this balance sheet added up. Oh, turns out it was my fault all along. You know, we could always start over. Oh, I see what no, it should work. It should be the right numbers. Oh, it missed PP&E. As I've said before, the soul of business. That's very unlike me. It still doesn't add up. There we go. I'm off my game. IonQ is next. Capricorn is next. Anavex is next. They're all going to 0. Nah, I'm still sinus congested. Pretty bad. What's a good song? I need a good song. Oh, we'll be here at 8 a.m. I'm a big Smashing Pumpkins fan.
Through the big wall bites back. You sit there and sit there and blow. You're so pretty when you're on your knees, disaffected and eager to breathe. Sometimes you suck, sometimes you burn. God rest your soul. When love becomes a weaver, ready gone. Just like you did, you'll never change. Each time it comes, it eats me alive. I try to relate, but it eats me alive. So I declare holiday, fall asleep, drift away. Sometimes you suck, sometimes
33 is a good song. No, this is from the second one. It's from Siamese Dream. The weird thing about Siamese Dream, okay, I mean, there's a really good song as Today, obviously. So that was the hit. I mean, this is the masterpiece, right? But that kind of goes without saying. Disarm is a really good song. And it's interesting, Disarm actually has the most amount of listens. It's really telling. The first Smashing Pumpkins album is arguably better than the second. Though, you know, it doesn't have many listens. But there's a lot of good songs in this. I was never big a Faith No More guy. Lyrics are tough. I like Thursday a lot. As is well documented.
Stop.
This is a funny song. It's a little bit fun. I hope you guys like it.
Through mostly vacant streets, a baker from the outskirts of his town earned his living peddling sweets from a ragged cart he dragged around. The clever fox crept close behind, kept an ever watchful eye for a chance to steal a ginger spice cake or a boysenberry pie. Looking down was the hungry crow. When the time is right, I'll strike and condescend to the earth below and take whichever treat I like. The moment the baker turned around to shoo the fox off from his cart, the crow swooped down and snatched a shortbread cookie and a German chocolate tart. Using most unfriendly words that the village children had not yet heard, the baker shouted threats by Canzonet to curse the crafty bird. You rotten wooden mixing spoon, why you midnight winged raccoon? You better bring those pastries back, you no good burnt black macaroon. The fox approached the tree where the bird was perched, delighted in his nest. Brother Crow, don't you remember me? It's your old friend Fox with a humble request. If you could share just a modest piece, seeing as I distracted that awful man. This failed to persuade the crow in the least, so the fox rethought his plan. And if your lovely song would grace my ears, or to even hear you speak would ease my pains and fears, the crow looked down with a candy in its beak. Your poems of wisdom, my good crow, what a paradise they bring. This flattery pleased the proud bird so he opened his mouth and began to sing. Your subtle acclamation's true, best to give praise where praise is due. Every rook and jay in the core of the day's been raving about me too. They admire me one and all, must be the passion in my call. My slender bill known through the escatil, my fierce commanding claw. Graham cracker crust, my powdered sugar, funnel cake cocaine. Let the crescent cookie rise, these carob-covered almond eyes would rest to see my cashew princess in the swirling marble sky. Will rest upon the knee where all divisions cease to be. A root beer floating on a banana boat across the tapioca sea. When letting all attachments go is the only prayer we know. May it be so, may it be so, may it be so. Oh. Yes, this is the campaign slithered in trails in the cargo bay. A new turd is a vastness, hollow vacuum, check the oxygen tanks. They hibernate, but how they kiss the ground, pucker up and kiss the asphalt now. Tease this amputations, winter larynx, it has access now.
right, let's break it down. Ready?
combination of a sentence broken up to form a rhythm. You are a poem. my senses broken up to form an image. Take her down to the river, she would step right over the water. And if you take him on down to that goddamn river, he would drag you straight down to the bottom.
One of the first emo albums ever. One of my favorites in high school.